What's up, War Report family? It's your boy C Dub. It's week 3, so we're going to be previewing all of the SEC matchups taking place this weekend, including Auburn's matchup with New Mexico, and we're going to discuss who gets the start in that game this weekend. We'll discuss more than that, but that's pretty much what we're going to be tackling. All that and more in tonight's edition of the Midweek Report.
This edition of the War Report is brought.
Definitely want to show love to our show sponsor. This seems like a great place for a lot of War Report family to meet up with. Opelika Rage Room, Birmingham Rage Room. Go there and break some stuff, guys. 1510 2nd Avenue, Opelika, Alabama, or 2616 7th Avenue South in Birmingham. Stop by, show them some love. Definitely want to thank them for being a sponsor of the War Report. Also, you can help us by sharing this video, smashing the like button, or subscribing to the channel. You can get yourself a green name, gift a green name, or find out how you can access some more of our other content. Mike G, you want to tell them how to do that?
I do want to tell them how to do that, and I will tell them how to do that right now. Guys, you know what the deal is. Join up as a member, because if you're a member, you get access to a lot of cool stuff, especially on game day. So if you found yourself wanting to comment on the halftime show, Ike was telling me, he was like, man, people was trying to get in there. You got to be a member, because we keep those conversations family only. Our game day experience, again, everybody can join the post game, but pregame and halftime, we reserve that for our members to comment. So join that community. You guys have been signing up at a record rate. We need to keep that going. So if you don't have a green name and you're looking around all the green names in the chat, hey, sign up. $5.99. Keep the work that we're doing here going. Also, you can give the gift to the War Report, help somebody else sign up by hitting that gifted membership button. Let's see if we can get 50 going tonight. 50 memberships, and Auburn wins by 50 on Saturday. I don't make the rules. The universe does. Also, this show is brought to you in part by Autograph. Go to your phone's app store to download the Autograph app today, guys. This is one of the things we ask you guys to do. This is absolutely free. We don't need any money. We just need you guys to download this app and use referral code REPORT when it pops up and asks you for the code. It's going to populate your app with all the Auburn content you can stand in one place. So whether it's articles or podcasts, you can find it all in one place. And if you're looking for tickets to Auburn versus Arkansas and you don't win tonight, guess what, guys? You can buy them through Autograph. So no extra fees there when you use the app. Again, visit your phone's app store today and download Autograph. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank show sponsor Joy Mode. You guys already know the deal, man. Let's call out the obvious. Everyone wants to head into the bedroom with confidence, feeling like the best version of themselves. Feeling like 2021 Peyton Thorne, not 2023 Peyton Thorne. But the problem is sometimes intrusive thoughts get in the way of our performance, or maybe we just feel like we're not reaching our full potential. That's where our friends at Joy Mode come in. Visit tryjoymode.com. And use code REPORT for 20% off free shipping. It's just a little packet that you stir in 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before you do the boom boom and watch the magic unfold. Again, visit tryjoymode.com and use code REPORT to get 20% off plus free shipping.
Gentlemen, it's week 3. Here we are. I just want to ask you, you've been talking with a lot of other content creators, been talking with players. Obviously, you're on Twitter, so you see fans' reaction. If you had to sum up the mood surrounding Auburn, one word, how would you describe the mood? Mike G, what would you say? Think about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say pissed, but I think people are beyond angry. I think it's more of apathy at this point. Somewhere between whatever lies between anger and apathy, that's what Auburn fans are right now. It's we covered a spring game a while ago when Harsin got here, and the offense looked like crap, and I lost it because I thought it was going to be different, and I feel like people felt this was going to be different, and Saturday looked like more of the same. So, where do we go from here? But here's the one thing that Peyton Thorne I think said in the post game that people didn't like to hear, but it's true.
It's just
still early in the season, right? This is only week 3 we're going into right now, so there's a chance that they could pull it together, but it feels like they got to pull a rabbit out of their hat right now. So, like I said, whatever word describes being between pissed and apathetic, that's where Auburn fans are at right now.
Some of y'all are saying sad.
Sad. See, I don't know. Like
disappointed. That's accurate.
Like you guys got kids. Caesar, yours is maybe too young, but it's just like, son, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, right? Like, is that a line you got to hit your kids with sometimes?
Yeah,
because that hits home a little bit more than anger does. So the deal with my nephew, it's like, Hugh, I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
You got to say it with that tone. Ephesians 2, verse 8-9 says he's confused. I think that's accurate.
But
he can be pissed, though. Some people are really pissed and upset.
Yeah. I understand. I understand anger as well, too. I do.
Yeah. In Ephesians 2, comes back and says, the War Poor, thank y'all for the great content and hard work. Your dedication shows how much it means to you. It means a lot to us.
I appreciate this. I don't know if you guys have been seeing these film reviews that Ike's putting out, but they take time to do. This is not an easy thing to get out to you guys. So if you're a member and you've been enjoying these film reviews, some of them Ike makes public when he wants you guys to get a little taste. But they take time. So we appreciate that for sure. It's a lot of content. I don't think anybody's currently putting out more content than we are.
Yeah.
Nah.
Is there anybody putting out more content than War Report right now? Nope.
I doubt it.
Caesar, am I lying?
No. No. Ike, what's the one word that how you feeling, man? Like what are you sensing?
I mean, I think people are just I think apathy is a good word just because it feels like, all right, well, we suck again.
We suck again.
we're back here again.
It's 2020. The year is 2024,
and I'm tired of being in this same position over and over again. So here we are, wondering why we don't have an offense. Yep. Especially after all of the offseason, it's going to be better. It's going to be better this time, guys. Look, he's seeing the game like me.
Those were strong words.
I'm able to. He's able to go to the line of scrimmage, and hey, last year they didn't put the decisions in my hands at the line of scrimmage. I can go out there and I can. All right.
Yep.
You had the decisions. What'd you do with them?
4th and 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, apathy it is.
Y'all a while in these comments right now.
And with that, let's get into these predictions and talk about other teams.
Yep.
We have plenty of time to discuss Auburn, but let's kick it off with discussing some easy little matchups for some of our SEC teams that we expect them to be able to win. Let's start with Old Vandy has an opportunity to improve to 3-0.
Out the gate, Vandy can hit the over.
I'm so bad. I'm so mad I didn't bet the bag on Vandy at 2.5 wins this season. I'm really disappointed in myself.
Well, listen, last year they started 2-0 and promptly lost every other game for the remainder of the season.
That's true. That's true. Ike. You're right. You're absolutely right. Look, our guy Chris Phillips. We now do a weekly power ranking segment with SEC Unfiltered. He had Vandy ranked 16th to start the season. He was like, they are definitely the worst. As a matter of fact, there were three people who voted for Vandy at media days to win the SEC.
They always get
every
a first
year.
place.
Right
vote.
now,
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. But look, man, good for Vandy. They moved off that 16th spot all the way up to 11 in 2 weeks. Good for them.
I
man.
never thought Vandy was the worst team in the conference this season.
It was always Mississippi State. Let's be real.
I thought it was Florida, but you know.
Hey, it's not too late.
Now Graham Mertz is too good, man.
He's
Like,
hurt now, though. He's
Oh,
not
yeah,
even.
that's right.
DJ Lagway looks like he's going to be pretty good, but we'll talk about Florida.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So Vandy,
Look, man, I'm riding with it, Lou. I'm not betting.
I got
against the
Vandy.
I mean, it's
Commodores.
Georgia
Yeah.
State. I don't think Georgia, like, even though it's at Georgia State now, which is kind of wild that they have to go play a road game at Georgia State.
Isn't what's his face the head coach there now? The guy who Auburn fans keep bringing up every time there's a coaching search. What's his name? Chat, help me out.
Every time there's a coaching search, they bring it.
Yeah, his name comes up.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
That's another one. That's another.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea who the coach at Georgia State
Yeah,
is.
I don't know. Whoever was Dale McGee.
Dale
Oh,
McGee.
yeah, Dale McGee.
Dale McGee.
Go there.
Dale McGee.
Right.
Yeah, like
Dale
his name
McGee.
comes up
I forgot about that.
every coaching search.
Our chat is always on it. They're literally always on it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't care. I'm picking Vandy.
Yeah.
I'm going Vandy too. I don't have a reason to pick against them, especially in this game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to a candidate for one of the worst in the SEC, Mississippi State, at home against Toledo.
I'm still rocking. I'm rocking with the cowbells here on this one.
Yeah, I don't think Toledo's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Jeff Lebby, I think, is he's getting it together. I mean, they had a late score in that last game to make it respectable. They're still not a very good football team, but let me be clear. I haven't watched Toledo play a single snap of football this season, so I'm just assuming that with the difference in the athleticism, Mississippi State takes care of business and they get the dub there.
Facts. That's a fact.
I think this is one of those must-win games for Mississippi State, just given where they are right now and what's left on their schedule. This is one of those games you got to get. So I think they get it. Oklahoma, Tulane. This is an interesting one right here, guys.
It is. Remember, last year, Tulane ended up being one of the better wins on Ole Miss's schedule. They were pretty good last year. And our friend Josh Pate, if you haven't seen that segment, I think we released it just like 3 hours ago. But he said that he feels like Auburn still has a good chance to beat Oklahoma, and that they have not been impressive. They don't have a huge edge right now.
Oklahoma has not looked good offensively. This season.
So,
right.
That being said, I think this line is about right. I'm going to go with Oklahoma, but I have a sneaking suspicion that they don't cover in this one.
I'm going Oklahoma in this game as well.
This is an interesting test for Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah.
This is an interesting test. You going Oklahoma, Ike?
Yeah.
Homie.
This is going to be an interesting one. I am going to go Oklahoma here. That brings us to Texas, who they're going to steamroll this team here. And I think they cover.
Quinn Ewers looks good, man.
Yeah, Texas is going to beat the brakes off of UTSA. Yeah. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah, I'm almost like it's between Jackson Dart and Quinn Ewers right now for me for who's the best quarterback in the conference currently as of right now. But Quinn Ewers looks every bit of the top QB prospect in the class that he was a few years ago when he committed to Ohio State. And I don't know if everybody remembers, he never played a game there, and then he transferred to Texas. And now look at him, man. Can't miss prospect. I think Quinn Ewers was at the college level, and he's playing one of the best play callers that we've seen in the last 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Sarkisian. So yeah, Texas big, and they covered. I think they're a lock playoff team.
Yeah, they stay healthy. It'll be interesting to see how they get through the rest of the SEC. But beating the brakes off Michigan was a good way to start. So
yep.
Ole Miss on the road against Wake Forest.
I just mentioned them. Jackson Dart is playing like a man possessed. However, Ole Miss has one of the easiest 6-game stretches in the history of college football. If Florida has the hardest schedule, like these first 6 games for Ole Miss are, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. Like any loss in the first 6 weeks for them is a colossal failure. Throw the whole team out. There's no way they should lose a game here. This one included. I like Ole Miss big. I mean, they'll cover this easily.
Okay.
Hank Bachmeier's the quarterback at Wake Forest right now.
Oh, the dude who is that the dude who transferred from Boise?
Boise, yeah.
Bachmeier. Interesting.
Shit, he played. He played for Harsin as a freshman, didn't he?
Yeah.
That
was the game. I think wasn't that the game? Like they played FSU and beat FSU. I don't know if that was him, but anyway. He's been in college forever, it seems. But anyway, I'm going Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Ole Miss.
Hank Bachmeier on the season, 666 yards. Ole Miss by a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tennessee. Kent State, Tennessee.
They're the number 7 team in the country right now.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Man, 49 is the number here.
Yes, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, obviously,
which they could still cover. Like
y'all acting like that's not realistic. Like
look, Tennessee, obviously here. I don't know, man. That seems that's a very large cover. I don't like them to cover, but I like them to win big.
Sure.
No, I like them to cover. I think they're going to beat you.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're going to beat the stuffing out of Kent State.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just see them putting it in cruise control in the third quarter and
after they're up by 60.
Still covering. Yeah, we've covered, guys. Let's go ahead and call off the dogs.
That's fair.
Bama on the road against Wisconsin.
Now, Wisconsin looked like poop in week 1. They won, but they look like poop. But does Wisconsin have more offensive firepower than USF? Because they did a really, really good job, USF did, on Bama defensively for 3 quarters.
Luke Fickell is a defensive-minded coach.
Yes, and I'll tell you this. I was almost feeling good. I picked USF last week out of pure hate and venom in my heart,
which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, and I'm going to do it again this week because I have not sold on Kalen DeBoer's Alabama. They're going to lose, guys, and if I keep picking their opponents every week, eventually I'm going to be right.
Hey, that's a good strategy.
I'm telling you, the only way I could be wrong is if they go undefeated, in which case FML. But still. I'm picking Wisconsin here. Look, man, Ryan Williams is the real deal. He's the real deal.
Who is that?
Exactly.
Some guy.
Okay.
But Jalen Milroe, I don't know, man. I just got my questions about Bama. Yeah, I'm picking Wisconsin here.
Okay.
They got to go up. They got to go up to Wisconsin now. This is a road game. Yeah. They got to go up to Camp Randall, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tempted to join you in picking.
Come on,
Wisconsin
bro. I've been alone for the first 2 weeks. Y'all left me out here.
Yeah, because they weren't very good picks.
Hold on now. UCF gave him some trouble. USF.
USF, yeah,
Yeah,
they gave
but I
him some
mean,
trouble for a
you had,
half.
you had to know that wasn't gonna.
Come on, man.
I'm so close to it. I don't think that they're
Chat, are y'all with me? Is the chat with me at least on this? My own boys ain't with me, but the chat, y'all my new boys. There we go.
Yeah.
Venmo
It's a lot of people picking Wisconsin in this
Yeah,
game.
I mean, a lot of people are hate picking on this. Listen, I want to hate pick on this as well, like just because I want to see them fail, like with everything in me. I want to see Bama lose everything they ever play.
If Wisconsin wins this, everybody who's here with not a green name has to sign up. That's it.
I'm in favor of that.
Bankroll is with me. Daniel Denny is with me. Sign up, Daniel.
Okay.
Let's hold that $5.99.
Okay.
Get a Wisconsin win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bama on this one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I watched every minute of that USF game.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and somebody literally just said it. Van Dyke is not winning that game. I am not a fan of the Wisconsin quarterback.
Get Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him. And so if they had a quarterback that I felt like was going to be able to do something worth something, I'd go there. But
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Van Dyke either. They need more offense than USF. It's in your house, man.
We'll see. We'll see. So you going Wisconsin? I mean, you going Alabama too, right?
Yeah, I if they had a quarterback worth something, I go a different direction. I can't see Van Dyke making it work.
Let's go, chat. The chat is we're summoning up, we're conjuring up the spirit of Pat Dye.
I think I do think it can't. I don't know that Bama covers in this game, but I
it can get ugly, and it probably will get ugly. It'll get ugly early.
Yep.
That I'm here for. That I will enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
What time is that game? Do we have it on here? 11 a.m. on Fox. And it's early too. Got to go up north. Got to get up early. You know, maybe the eggs that they eat for breakfast aren't all the way cooked. Trainer forgets the Pepto-Bismol.
Listen, I'm all for it. I want to be wrong here.
Yeah. Have you ever had to poop but had all your football gear on?
Not once in my life. Okay.
I'm just saying it's a process, and it could happen on Saturday.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. Sounds really personal. Texas A&M on the road against Florida.
Oh, this is a snooze fest of a game.
You're just about to say, is that
3.5? 3.5.
It's a pick 'em.
Let's go, Billy Napier, baby. I'm going with Florida.
Man, Billy got one foot out the door already, man.
Nah, you go with this one. I'll go with Florida.
If you don't, it's both feet out the door.
Come on, don't pick the weirdos. Do not pick the weirdos.
I mean, which weirdos are we talking about?
Florida is just a little less weird than Texas.
No, they're a lot less weird. Let's be clear.
Okay,
There's
right.
No one is approaching Texas A&M levels of weirdo. But yeah, that Florida team looks. They look bad right now. They look like
I'm going A&M.
Yeah, I until Florida
can actually win this game though.
Until Florida knows a pulse, I can't pick them.
All right,
we'll see. I'm going A&M, but nah, I don't feel good about that pick either.
Hold on, let me think. Let me think about this for a second.
I'm gonna feel bad about any pick
because it is DJ Lagway. And it is in the swamp.
What time is this game? 2:30?
Yes. 2:30 kick in the swamp.
I'm going to be highly invested in this game.
Man, you know what? F it. Give me Florida, man.
There we go.
Give me Florida.
Give
me Florida. I'm hating on everybody on our schedule from going forward. And Texas A&M is on our schedule. I want all bad things to happen to them too, so they collapse throughout the season. Give me Florida.
I know it was only Sanford, but Lagway went 18 for 25 for 456 last week. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Now, Mertz is, I think, available to play this game. And they might try to do the 2 quarterback thing. Golly, I'm about to talk myself back out of Florida again with that too.
I think Ron Roberts makes a stupid call for Florida and A&M wins it.
Okay, all right.
Stop me if you heard that before.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna stick with Florida just because Billy Napier, he needs something. He needs something to make him feel like coaching is still a thing that he can do with his life. Guys, I was on the SEC I listen in on the SEC teleconference every week, and Billy Napier sounds defeated. He really does.
Yeah, I mean, even after the win last week, they did this like on-field interview with him, and yeah, he was giving off "I know I'm fired" energy.
Yeah. It's for him. It feels like a matter of when. Like it's not if, it's when.
Yeah, like are they going to let me back into the locker room this week?
He's walking up to the facility, putting in his PIN code and praying like you do at the ATM when you know you ain't got no money. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still in here, baby.
Approved,
Let's go.
Approved. Transaction approved." Oh, man.
Hilarious. All right, LSU against bipolar South Carolina.
Look, man, everyone shit on South Carolina to start the season, and then they took Kentucky to the woodshed.
That's a very sloppy game.
It was. I don't know, man. Like, it's too early to write off LSU. And Nuss looks good so far this season.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, Nuss looks good so far this season. So if it comes down to quarterback play, I'm going with LSU on this one. I know it's at Williams-Brice. They've got one of the more underrated home field experiences in the conference. South Carolina does. It's a fun atmosphere up there.
Yeah, somebody just said it in the comments. College game day is going to be there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's a really, really good environment. Like so, look, South Carolina starting 2-0. Yeah, but they're going to lose this one.
I'm going to go LSU here.
Now, I picked against LSU week 1.
You did? That's
and
true.
they did not let me down.
That's a good pick.
And they lost. I'm going with them this week, so they'll probably lose.
Yeah, I'm going to go LSU as well. I think, but you know what? Their starting running back is out. On the road. Nuts look good, man. Give me LSU. Give me LSU.
All right.
Quarterbacks out here looking good. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Georgia, Kentucky. Give me Georgia, man. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, look, man, they're the best team in the country until otherwise proven. I think they got to play Georgia this year. Texas this year, right? Regular season. We get that matchup.
Georgia, you're saying Georgia they play Texas?
Yeah. Right, that's a matchup we get this year, isn't it?
I think so.
In the regular season.
Yeah, because Oklahoma's not playing them, so it's got to be Texas.
It's got to be Texas. Yeah. So they'll get a chance to hash that out on the field. But again, I'm going with Georgia right now. They're just so loaded, man. And I was impressed with the week 1 matchup versus Clemson. Kirby Smart. It's a shame that they didn't make the playoff last year. I can't see Kentucky derailing. Now, Kentucky has enough defense to muddy this one up, maybe, and make it look ugly. But ultimately, I just don't think they got enough offense versus Georgia's defense to win this one, even if it is at Kroger Field.
Yeah, Georgia's going to win this game. Kentucky looks very disorganized right now. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia didn't cover in this one, guys. And it was like a 17-point win or something.
You said you wouldn't be surprised?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I think they get done up 2 weeks in a row now on home field.
Yeah, I actually think that Georgia wins this game pretty easily. I just don't think Kentucky, like going back and thinking about that Clemson game, the question I'd have to ask myself is 2 weeks later, is Kentucky's defense going to be able to do what Clemson's defense did for the first half of that game?
Mm.
And then is Kentucky's offense even in the same conversation with Clemson's inept offense, right? Like, I think as bad as Clemson's offense is, they're better than Kentucky offensively. And so I think Georgia wins this game fairly easily.
All right. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, they're the best team in the country. I don't think it's particularly close. The only other team I'm looking at that rivals them right now is Texas. So,
okay, all right. Well, we will definitely see. We will definitely want to hear from y'all, as many of you have dropped your thoughts in the comments about who you think is going to win this week in the SEC. You are watching the Midweek Report. We're going to pause for a moment, pay some bills, and come back and discuss Auburn's matchup with New Mexico after the break.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. The Opelika Rage Room in Opelika, Alabama. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Call or text 334-777-6688 to set up a session today, or check them out online at opelikaRageRoom.com. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
guys, you already know the deal. $5.99 a month. Sign up. I dare you. I double dare you to sign up and become a patron. We've got a lot of great content coming out here this week. We gave you film reviews. We gave you Josh Pate. We gave you power rankings. We still have JD Piquel left to come on. Brandon Marcello is on the docket as well, too. Jake Crane joins us tomorrow. Taylor Korn from the next round is coming on as well, too. And we gave you a little something with former Georgia QB Aaron Murray. This is so much content. You can help us keep that going by signing up as a patron. We appreciate everybody for doing that. Also, I want to shout out our podcast network. Guys, we're on podcasts. So wherever you listen to your sports content, the War Report is there. Also with the Uptempo College Loop in just a sec as part of our network, bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. I want to thank show sponsor Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com and use code REPORT to get 20% off plus free shipping. Stress, sleep, anxiety, pain, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has you covered. So, if you're reeling from Saturday, Rogue Shop will prepare you for this Saturday just in case Auburn has any more surprises in store for you. Last but certainly not least, before we get back to the content, I want to thank show sponsor Manscaped. Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Now, our friends, they polled the audience, and if you're a Bammer, you're more likely to use the same trimmer for your face and your balls than any other normal person. As a matter of fact, they use the same face cloth as they do down there as well, too. They're just gross. You don't want to be gross. You want to be what Manscaped calls as a supreme beard and ball bundle user. So, introducing the Beard and Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and a beard hedge trimmer, a trimmer for your moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com.
The matchup this weekend, 0-2 New Mexico rolls into Jordan-Hare to face 1-1 Auburn at 6:30 p.m. ESPN2. Auburn is favored big in this game. The over and under is 60.5. Football Power Index gives Auburn a 93.4% chance of winning, and this is the first time these two teams are meeting. Guys, who wins? I mean, just get to it. Who wins? We're going to determine who wins, and then we're going to get to the most important question after that. How will is this going to be? Does you see any suspense here this weekend, or does Auburn actually cruise?
It's weird. It's weird, right? Like when your offense is not playing well, anything is possible. Because you
Anything is possible.
Kevin Garnett. But because you still have to score points to win. You got to put points on the board, and
you do it.
I'm gonna say that Auburn is gonna win this game. I'm not gonna pick against the Tigers against New Mexico. It's not really the score that's in doubt for me. It's how are they going to look doing it? You know, and what kind of tone are they going to be able to set going into Arkansas? Now, don't get me wrong. In no way, shape, or form should Auburn overlook any opponent the rest of the season with as bad as they looked on offense Saturday. But you got to give – I'll give Cal some credit. They mixed up their looks. They came after Thorne. They did what they had to do. They did what the tape said do. New Mexico will attempt it, but they shouldn't have the horses to be able to pull it off unless Auburn makes mistakes. This is how you keep a team like this is you make mistakes. As a matter of fact, that's how Cal ended up winning the game. Mistakes.
Yep.
Great.
5 turnovers, which should have been 6. Honestly, like you guys had pointed out to me, and I went back and watched it. That PI that wasn't PI and was probably an interception, and they got bailed out on that one. But that was a bad day offensively. Now, on average, Jarquez Hunter had a decent day carrying the ball, if you look at his yards per carry. But I wonder if Hugh Freeze will try to come out and establish the run in this one. How much does the game plan change if you go with Hank Brown over Peyton Thorne? And, what does that look like? Does that look like spreading out the field and letting Hank Brown, who he himself, when he came on and he sat down with us at Vintage, said, I'm a gunslinger. Now, I don't know if you guys watch Westerns, but gunslingers are quick on the draw. So I would not say Peyton is a gunslinger because you holding the ball too long. You shot, bro. If it's a standoff, you're not quick on the trigger, and Hank Brown should be. So if you're Hugh Freeze, do you test that early in this one, or do you just try to get out of this one alive and get to next week? Because right now, Arkansas is looking like it's going to be a tougher test than we thought at the beginning of the season, potentially. So, what can you establish this week with your team moving into SEC play? This is your last opportunity. Ike and I have gone back and forth over this, and I think we agree. It's going to suck, man, if Hank doesn't get significant, even if he doesn't start, if he doesn't get significant playing time in this, and then you decide to just throw him in SEC play. Now, if that can't matter to you, but I don't know. Auburn wins this one. I just think this game is more about establishing what your offensive identity is going to be moving forward. What is Auburn's identity on offense right now? Can anybody answer that question?
Turnovers. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Like you've identified that you are prone to give the ball to the other team right now.
Yeah. So
7 turnovers in 2 games is ridiculous.
Yeah. Who wins, man?
Yeah, I think Auburn wins the game. Auburn should win this game, but I echo what Mike said. It's not so much about just getting out of there with a win. Like you need to look competent, coherent while doing it. And it doesn't need to be a 73-3 blowout, but you need to look as if you've gotten offense figured out.
Yep.
But I struggle to take much away from this game, right? You should beat New Mexico. So beating them is not an accomplishment more so than, all right, we did what we were supposed to do. But how you look doing it matters, which is why I said game one mattered. Like how you looked beating Alabama A&M, it mattered because you looked good, and the process by which you blew, like you did what you were supposed to do against that competition. You need to come out this week and do that exact same thing. Do what you're supposed to do against this level of competition. Now, will they score more points than Alabama A&M did? They've got a better offense. They should score more points. And is Auburn going to score as many points as they did versus Alabama and A&M? They've got a better defense. They got better athletes. They shouldn't, but I think they're giving up almost 40 points a game right now. And they played Montana State and Arizona, who does have a really good offensive, good quarterback, really great wide receiver. But yeah, if you don't score 40 points in this game, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know
if you don't take care of the football. Score 40 points and don't give them the football.
Right. No inexplicable turnovers.
Yeah.
I've been told that Cam Coleman's shoulder injury isn't serious. But
he wants to play. Even I think they're going to hold him out, but he wants to play.
But yeah, I think that you need to establish Perry Thompson or Camden Brown. I think technically backing up Cam would be Camden Brown.
Camden Brown is.
Right, yeah. And then Perry is backing up Keandre Lambert-Smith on the other side. But, Auburn, one of the things I was most disappointed with, Ike, was you showed a lot against A&M. And then it all went away, it felt like, versus Cal. And it took away opportunities for some of your playmakers, some of your guys who are really good with the ball in space to make plays for you. So, how could, he talked about why Malcolm Simmons started over, Robert Lewis. And he said, well, we had a specific play called. Well, you called a lot of specific plays for Malcolm and it looked great. And then you went the complete opposite direction last week. And I'm not saying that he should have gotten the start or even got as many snaps as he did in week one, but 5 snaps for somebody who definitely can help you, because you didn't call the game the same way with Robert Lewis in there. So, give these guys opportunities to go out and make plays and just put as much on tape, as you can for Arkansas to have to prepare for. It felt like all the things that they did against A&M didn't matter because Cal came out like none of that mattered defensively. And was just like, I don't care what they put on tape. Load the box, stop the run as much as we can, go after Peyton Thorne.
Right.
What did they do that was special on tape review, like defensively?
Not much, honestly. Right. I mean, and that, I think that was what,
made it so bad.
I talked about this morning on the morning drop. Coach Freeze sounded frustrated is probably putting it mildly. If you go and listen, and I encourage everybody to go listen to it in its totality. I had a couple of clips of it from this morning, but when he did his Tiger Talk thing from Baumhauer's and hearing him talk about the conversations he had with his quarterbacks on Monday after the Monday morning presser, he goes and he has his meetings with the quarterbacks. You could hear frustration in his voice of like, all right, before we had this conversation, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's on us. Maybe we didn't explain what our expectations were in certain scenarios. But then I go and I hear them explain it to me like, okay, this is what the defense is in. This is what look we have. This is what our protection is supposed to be. You can explain all of those things perfectly to me. Well, why didn't you go and do it? Like, at what point in time does it translate? And listen, I'm going to use Hugh Freeze's words.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, the film you have becomes your resume. Not what you do during practice. Your film has to become your resume. If you're not going to make people abide by that and let the film that they put out there on Saturdays become the resume for whether or not they should continue to have this job, what are we doing? Yeah, right. Practice great. Who cares? Who cares? If you're not going to do it, not if you're incapable of doing it, because it's not about capability at this point in time.
Facts.
These are conscious choices Peyton Thorne made to throw to a covered receiver when other guys were open, to go with a look that he explains to the coach. Yeah, well, when we go here and it's not there, I'm supposed to come back. So you knew what you were supposed to do. You just decided, we're going to take a shot on this one. It's not your decision. You don't get to decide we're going to take a shot on this one. At some point in time, that film has to become your resume. And so I'm waiting for somebody to get browsing through Indeed and say, well, his resume don't look like it fits the job description.
You know what's interesting about that is that because he said that, right? The film has to become the resume. He said it first this season in relation to the offensive line, a question I asked about offensive line. But why would that apply to the quarterback?
Should apply to every single position.
Right.
Every single position.
Yeah, it absolutely should. And I know it gets looked at a little differently, but you have so much tape on Peyton Thorne at this point. And
15 games worth.
Right. And so the issue that I'm having is last year, everybody around him got blamed.
Yeah.
Everybody. So accountability was asked for. And I'm not saying there wasn't validity to some of that stuff. Could receivers have played better? Sure. Could have line played better? Sure. Could have the game been called better? Sure. But you sold the entire fan base that when he had Keon Coleman and these guys, he was pretty damn good. Well, you gave him Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert-Smith. And notice we're not having a conversation right now about receiver play around him after that game.
Right.
Yeah.
So last year, were the receivers as much of the problem as was being sold to everybody?
No, they weren't. I will argue that to my death.
And he talked about how the play calling was actually pretty good.
Right. But we held that position, Ike, consistently last year. It just wasn't as much on everybody else's as it was trying to be said. This is kind of where we go back to, like, when we had this conversation when Bo was here, and everyone was like, well, behind that offensive line, you can nobody can be good. And when we looked at the tape, it was like, all right, but he's leaving the pocket kind of early and he's moving into pressure and he's not helping his O-line any at points. But again, the O-line was just, I'm not saying they played great, but were they as much of the problem as it was being sold? I held that position then as well too. So we moved that conversation to receiver, and here we are having the same conversation where suddenly it's like, why does it have to be a disaster before people will just be like, okay, maybe we could use some better quarterback play.
Right. And listen, I understand all of the people who are screaming, you don't know the backup could be worse. They could be. You're 100% correct. They could be. Here's my problem. And this has always been my problem with the quarterback conversation. I just want to see. Just let me see. Let me see for myself. Put them out there, because you're not winning games with this quarterback.
Right.
So if the outcome is still going to be an L either way, and these other guys need an opportunity to get in-game reps, when do they do that? At what point in time do you allow? And this is the perfect week to do it, because it's an opponent that you should beat.
So let me ask you guys this question. Mike, you said this earlier. What is a sufficient amount of snaps for Hank Brown should he play this Saturday?
Okay, so
can I ask him that question differently?
Sure.
Okay.
What is a sufficient number of snaps for Hank Brown with the first team offense against New Mexico's first team defense? Because just playing Hank Brown a bunch of snaps, if the game's out of hand and they're playing their backups and our backups are in there, do those get weighed equivalently?
Right. Yeah, I agree. So to answer that question, last week, Peyton Thorne played every snap at quarterback, which totaled 62 snaps. In today's era of college football, that is an anemic amount of plays to run in a game if you're not scoring every drive. Right? So, for a lack of big plays and for all these 3-and-outs, that sucked. So, with the first team, I would say if he took any less than 25 snaps with the first team, you're doing him a disservice, right? And it's tough for me because at the end of the day, you're talking about a young man who doesn't have a lot of in-game experience. So I don't even know if there's a scenario under which you blow out New Mexico, he starts the game, and you even pull him out of the game. I don't know if Hank Brown starts that game. I don't know that he should be pulled. I think he should go in there and he should have to execute every single snap he can going into Arkansas.
Yeah, unless he's playing poorly, let him start.
Yeah,
and
right.
Let him finish it because to your point, he needs the reps.
But he also needs rope to make mistakes, and this is the problem that I'm having with doing it now when you're seemingly in desperation mode.
Right.
What kind of leash is he going to get?
Right.
Because the other guy got a 15-game leash. So are you going to give Hank Brown a 3-quarter leash? I don't like that. If you're making this switch, commit for the game, leave him in there, figure it out. Unless, again, it's got to be a disaster. We're about to lose to New Mexico. Okay,
correct.
We tried this. This didn't work.
That's literally the only way that it should be that way. Correct.
You know what I mean? A couple of years ago when Georgia State almost came in here and embarrassed Auburn, right? Bo was pulled from the game at a point where it was apparent that if you had left him in, Auburn was going to lose.
Right.
He got the job back later, and rightfully so. Before that game, they did what they had to do to win the game. And I think that you only pull Hank Brown if it gets to that point. Because it's New Mexico. So if he can't go out there and perform versus New Mexico, which there's no indication, given what we see him do versus Maryland, that would be the case. He's got the best deep ball in the room. He's very liked in that locker room. Unless he can't process, because here's the other thing, and the memes, by the way, have fantastic of Hugh Freeze saying, I promise you the package will not be big. But
yeah, I knew the minute he said that was going to go wrong.
Okay, it's just absolutely epic. But the other problem that I have is with your presumed starter, you are shrinking your offense.
Right.
So, if Hank comes in, do you get to expand it again? Or, what is his level of understanding of what you guys are trying to do? And if you do have to have a smaller package for Hank Brown, how well can he execute that package?
But why shrink it? Why shrink it if both of them, if Hank Brown is showing he has a good knowledge of what's expected of him based on what he's seen?
So
I
think shrinking it makes sense. I think shrinking it makes sense because if part of the reason why you weren't playing Hank Brown is I don't want him to have to go in with a very big game plan, right? So to evaluate them equally, we're going to give them both this small game plan and go execute the simple things.
Okay.
And against New Mexico, against New Mexico.
And
who executes the simple stuff. Right. And next week, you're going to have to. You can't go into next week with this truncated game plan against Arkansas. But this week, we need to evaluate them equally, not because this was the problem last year with the two quarterbacks. You can't evaluate them equally because you're not calling the same stuff for both of them. You're not even giving them the same options of things to do. So when we go, it's like on NCAA football right now, for those of you who play. I don't play, but I watch the videos that Dustin does when he's out there doing his road to victory mode or road to glory mode, excuse me. And when you're playing as a quarterback, until the trust gets to a certain level, you only have a certain number of times that you can change the play call, right? They're only trusting you to go out there and run the play that's called.
That's a feature on the game?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have unlimited audibles. Until you've earned coach's trust, you go out there and you call the play as it's.
This is why I can't play these new age video games, man. Just give me the sticks, A, B, select, start. bro.
But
Like, man,
you need to give both of these young men the same opportunity to make the same types of plays for every single thing, and not like, well, he had this other chance to go out there and change that play that he didn't have, and that's why he was more successful.
Mike,
No,
Mike,
everybody's got the same.
I called a play. What do you mean I can't audible out of it?
Well, see, on Road to Glory mode, you're not even calling your own play.
Okay,
You're getting a play call in, and you just go run it.
Sub-Zero gets it. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on this. I think that if you decided not to go after a quarterback in the portal, and you said you were going to ride with Peyton, but and that decision had to encompass what happened behind Peyton. Yeah. Now I've said this a couple times. I went on with my good friend Zach Blackerby this morning, and I'll say it again. Last year, over half of the teams in the conference went to their backup to start a whole game in meaningful time. So you don't have two quarterbacks that can do it. You are flirting with disaster in this league.
Right.
That's today's college football. You have to plan as if your starter may not be able to make it the entire season. And if there is a vast difference in the skill sets of your QB1 and your QB2, you need to have two game plans prepared that you can execute at a high level, and one that does not substantially shrink what you can accomplish offensively. You need to be able to execute, right? So if Hank Brown comes in, you need to be able to utilize all this wide receiver talent that you have the same way that you tried to when Peyton was in the game. That passing playbook should not get smaller with Hank Brown in the game because he can't run as well as Peyton can. I asked Hugh Freeze this. I said, look, how much does offensive line and pass protection play into your decision on who to start? Now, interestingly, he said, and I confirmed this, when they weren't in 3rd and long and the defense didn't just have their ears pinned back to come after the quarterback, pass protection was okay.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Murray confirmed it when we put that clip out that went kind of viral on Twitter saying, look, man, yes, he got hit on that interception, but he also held onto the ball like 2 seconds longer than he should have. Keandre Lambert-Smith was running in green pastures.
Yeah.
He was running around like it was Little House on the Prairie, guys. There's nobody around him. The safeties were running themselves out of the play, and the only way the DBs underneath make a play is if you make a terrible throw.
Correct.
Right.
Throw the ball to the hash, just float it out there, and that's a 30-yard gain for Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Yeah, and that's the biggest issue I've had with Peyton Thorne over the last year is the lack of anticipation of him throwing into open windows.
But we were told last year, Ike, that he didn't do that because they didn't trust the receivers to be there.
Correct.
You've removed that excuse. And when we tried to tell everybody that last year, we got fried for it. Now we're having the same conversation again, and it's 2024.
Yeah, listen, I make the same assertion I did last year. You're the senior in this situation.
Yes.
Throw the dang football.
Throw it. Right. This is why you get brought in. The experience is supposed to be there. And, you had a spring and a summer with this team this time. The chemistry was supposed to be there. And for whatever reason, and I don't blame them for going with him to start the season. I don't. Because the players that we talked to felt like Peyton had a stranglehold on what they're trying to do, right? He understands the offense at a high level. I believe Hugh Freeze when he says this. He understands what they're trying to do, but for whatever reason, it's not translating on the field on game day.
Yeah. And
I know Cal was just one game, but this was a game in your house against a team that you should beat. So, it's tough, man. Like I was talking to Dustin over at the Uptempo, and, he was kind of getting the business from fans on Twitter about saying that Cal was mid, right? And people were like, well, if Cal's mid, then what does that make Auburn?
Terrible offensively.
Underperforming. That's it. Yes, you're still mid.
I was about to say that just because we're making a disparaging comment about a team that Auburn should have beat does not mean that we think Auburn's still the better team. Like, let's just be clear.
Yeah.
And Cal fans can be mad about that all they want to. Listen, there were multiple opportunities for Cal to shut the door on Auburn, and they couldn't get it done. Auburn had a bunch of opportunities to do better things in that game, and the quarterback gifted you some possessions there.
Yeah.
You're not that good. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that means that Auburn's offense has just been that bad. That's not even rocket science to figure out, right? Like, it's basic math.
Sometimes
So-
the ugly chick gets taken home at the end of the night.
Yeah, when
Still
you're
ugly.
drunk.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I still had 8 beers. I still had beer goggles on. So like, I mean, it's Cal's the ugly chick, and they got lucky. that
smart
night,
ugly
right?
shit.
Yeah, but when I wake up in the morning, you look like you look when the beer
Right.
goggles are going. So like, Auburn has to stop taking the ugly chick home, man. You're better than that. You're better than that.
Who starts? So
Shut up,
who
JJ
starts?
Oh, hold on. Let's answer that
I went
question
to
after we
college,
do this.
JJ.
We got to do this drawing for these tickets.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
come back
that's
and
right.
talk
Oh,
about
you know
that.
what? I'm sorry. Can we just? I meant I did not announce it at the thing, and I was getting ready to interrupt the conversation. But I want to give everybody a few more minutes to get in here. Visit in our community. There is a post where you can put that. And I'm gonna put the link here in the comments here to give everybody just a little bit more time to get in there and get that going. But please go to our community and leave a comment there to get into this drawing for these tickets. Please do not enter if you do not plan on attending the game. This is something special that we do, and we want people to be able to have their first game time experience. The first 2 weeks were great, hearing from the people who won the tickets. Our girl Susan won week 2's tickets versus Cal. I'm sorry, Susan, it didn't end the way you would have liked. But there are 6 more home games left in the season for Auburn, and we're giving away tickets to all of them. So visit that link that I just put in the comments there. Drop a comment there for your chance to enter this drawing. And hopefully Saturday, Auburn does the right thing.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, your question was who's starting?
Who's starting?
I still think it's Peyton Thorne right now. Today, I still think the answer is Peyton Thorne.
It sounded like Monday, Hugh Freeze sounded like Jekyll and Hyde. He sounded like he was having a real midlife crisis about this week.
I don't think he wants to pull Peyton Thorne as his starter,
but I
think he's almost got to at this point.
Yeah,
I think
pressure is mounting.
What I gathered is that I think he's coming to terms. What I gathered, I could be so off here, but I think he's coming to terms that for the first time in his collegiate coaching career, he's missed on the transfer quarterback.
Yeah, it's. I wondered this too.
This would be the first one.
Sure,
he's been able to do something with. I mean, even Bo Wallace, who went by Bad Bo, like he was still able to get some production out of Bo Wallace. I don't think he's reaching a point where he's questioning if he can get production out of Peyton Thorne.
Is there a recruiting angle here? Like, Peyton clearly has only 1 year left. So, did he want to just finish the year with Peyton so that he could sell to recruits that, like, hey, the starter's gone, it's going to be a completely open battle going in?
Well,
like,
that's been the dilemma.
Does Hank Brown winning the job throw a wrench in your recruiting because he's got so much eligibility left?
That's 100% been the dilemma this entire time, in my opinion, is that if you pivot to one of the younger guys and they play well enough, right? Like you're almost, if you're recruiting for a quarterback, hoping they play well enough for you to win some games, but not so well that it damages your recruiting. On the other hand, if they play phenomenally, you're in good hands for the next couple of years and you're not worried about it, right?
Sure.
Like, and
That's
so
fair.
there's so many directions that this can go. So it's like, once you make that move, you're hoping it goes either really, 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 really well, where it's like, oh my God, this is the next, like this could be Dan Marino's second coming, or it goes just well enough that you win games, but people are still like, okay, that guy's not the answer, and you can still pitch recruiting.
So Josh Pate said this essentially because he felt like, Auburn was never going to be good enough to win 9 or 10 games this year anyway, which is why you don't go into the portal to get a QB, and this was supposed to be a bridge year anyway. So
disagree with Josh Pate fundamentally on that. With a good quarterback, Auburn absolutely could win 9 or 10 games this year.
Yeah, I actually with you on this one. And so, what was the thinking here from Hugh Freeze's standpoint? Because it just feels like it's going to be a waste of a talent and another year of a decent defense. But you're going to have to do some extra work. Now, there was some speculation that Deuce Knight was going to commit this weekend. And then Saturday happened, and there's no commitment. And now people are like, Payne Thorne ran off Deuce Knight. I'm not sure that the logic tracks for me. I don't think that Deuce Knight cares how Payton Thorne plays. I think he cares how the offense is called.
Correct.
Certainly. Right. So, it's more about like what they were trying to do, because if Payton sucks, that just underscores why they need him. But if you're holding back, and man, I'm telling you, like the tight ends felt like they were a non-factor in the game, and nothing felt smooth. And he said there was no rhythm to what they were trying to do. But it wasn't just about Payton, though. Again, they changed up everything that they did in week 1. It felt like to me. And then you came out and you went extremely overcorrected in the second half, just trying to pound the football. And I was like, if that was the strategy, like why not come out and try to pound the football and then let, Payton throw the ball over the top once Jarquez is, because he was averaging like 7 yards a carry. So it was, there was no emphasis on the run game. It felt like in the first half of that game, but you also shrunk the passing package greatly. And then, Payton missed some throws. There was one Ike that was behind Rivaldo Fairweather. DB got a chance in there and kind of make a play. So some people were like, well, you got to catch that. And I've never been in that camp. I'm sorry. Like that ball was behind him. And if you throw that out in front, that's like a guaranteed reception.
Yeah.
He made that way more. You throw the defender back into the play.
Basically. Yeah. You made it where the defender could break up that pass for no reason. Right. And so, listen, man.
But this is another example of like, even on those short routes, those gettable throws, you missed the guy. That happened in A&M.
All right. Well, I gave you guys a few minutes. Let's give away some tickets, guys. There's lots of depressing talking here. Let's do something positive. Let's get back to the community. You guys asked for it. Back by popular demand is our ticket giveaway. So we're giving away 2 tickets to the Arkansas game. You guys that followed instructions got in here, and I'm going to draw now. So our winner, you got to be here to win. So we will move on. We've proven that we'll do that. 14, Mr. H.
Is that Mike Hicks?
Mike Hicks.
He's got to be here. I don't know if I've seen him in the comments.
I haven't.
Mike, are you here, sir?
At all?
Are you here?
But that was the name that got pulled. So we'll give Mike a couple minutes to jump in there and claim his tickets. Otherwise, we're moving on. Boom.
Let's go to these chats.
Yes, let's get to some of the comments here. Got some new members. Neil Greenway, welcome. Welcome.
We need more.
James Ray became a member.
All right.
You asked for 50, Tiffany. He's here.
My man showed up quick. He said nothing the whole broadcast. Give him,
he's
I'm free.
There in the shadows.
Mike, the business. Business at the War Report. I think we got your email on file, so we'll be able to verify it's you. But email us business at the War Report so I can get those tickets transferred.
Congrats, sir.
Congrats, man. Like Mike, answer me this: you bringing the wifey down, or you bringing the homie down? I need to know.
Tiffany B. Well, if you're bringing the wife down, he needs to find that sitter.
Oh, is Mike have kids?
Oh yeah. He's a dad. He's a dad now. He's
All
a
right.
dad.
Why did he bring his son?
Tiffany B gifted 5 World Report memberships there. So
Yeah,
thank you.
there you go.
Wardang Eagle says, I think Hank has to get at least a half.
First half.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. How many drives did Auburn have in this last game? Like, so we turned the ball over in 5 of them.
Was it
So
13?
11.
11 to 13 drives, I think.
All right. So let's just say Auburn has 20 drives in that game. Like 6 or 7 drives, man. At least 6 or 7 drives.
Yeah, I want to see if he gets a chance. I want to see him get a real shot. And
If
I like Hank Brown. If you've never, he's a good kid too, man. Like I like his belief in himself. I mean, I don't know. I just feel talent evaluation is not an exact science. I was talking to somebody about like how some of these guys get underrated, and Tank. I think that Hank was just an underrated kid. Right, a lot of talent gets overlooked every year, and you get behind the 8 ball, and then when you come in because you're not that high 4 or 5-star top 100 kid, it's hard. It takes some luck to climb that ladder and overcome those kids, especially now in the NIL era where like money commitments are being made to the kids that are getting recruited in front of you. This is a real uphill battle for Hank, man. Like in so many ways. So I'd love to see him get the shot.
Cool Breeze says, so Auburn losing to Cal is worse than Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois.
No.
No. No.
Just because it might not be Auburn doesn't mean it's definitely Notre Dame. But however, he's already committed there. So in order to flip his commitment, he's like, well, if I'm gonna go, I'm not going from one crap show to another one. I might as well stay with the ones that I've been with the entire time. So,
and you just, I mean, he hasn't locked down his recruitment.
Yeah.
So a school that has an offense that is humming could get themselves, a la Ole Miss, could get themselves into this conversation.
Or listen, man, I wouldn't count out Mississippi State in all of this. Jeff Levy is an offensive guy. He might find a way to convince a Mississippi guy, hey, we are going to eventually be the ones in this state.
Yeah. It was 14 total drives, Ike.
14. Yeah. So, like I said, let's just say it's 20 to 22, man. Let's give him 8 to 10 in this next game.
So if Thorne starts and does well, at what point do you expect to see Hank?
Listen, I don't think Peyton Thorne should have more than 3 to 4 drives in this game, period. Like, regardless of what happens, 3 or 4 drives, get him out of there. Because, like, what more do you need to see from him that you don't already know? Go out there, operate the offense decently for a couple of drives, and go sit down.
Yeah.
If that's the case, did you just make a case for Hank start?
Yeah, if he still needs game reps.
Well, I think Hank should start. He should not. I don't think he's going to. Like, now the week is not over yet. Something else could happen during practice and change. But if I'm listening to Coach Freeze based upon the 2 times I heard him speak Monday, the Monday morning press conference with the Auburn media and excuse me, I've heard him speak now 3 times because he was on the teleconference today. Nothing that I hear from that makes me feel as if Hank is definitely going to be the starter. I think he's got a shot to start, but if you're asking me to predict it today, it's going to be Peyton.
Yeah. I just don't know what he could do in practice differently than he's already done.
Right.
And we know that Peyton Thorne is going to practice well.
Yeah, it's likely Peyton's going to practice well. So Free said that something could change in practice this week, but like I don't know, man. Like I said, it's
unless you do something different in practice that gives you something new to evaluate,
which they did. They gave, from what I understand, Hank got more first team reps. They split the reps up differently this week so far in practice. So that's something different, I guess.
Okay.
You're getting more evaluation out of Hank in practice. But you had a whole fall, man, and like I don't know, you named him the second QB2 for a reason, and
Right.
if you're not getting good QB1 play, it's that question that we always come back to about how big is the gap between QB1 and QB2.
Well,
Really?
he's already on the record saying that the leash is going to be short this week, right? And
It
so
should be.
here is the question I would want to have answered is, do we get to a place as Auburn football where, okay, we're not losing this game, but you're still not operating the offense the way that it's supposed to be operated, and we got to move in a different direction.
Yeah.
Like, the famous one that you like to bring up, Mike, is the national championship game. Like, it wasn't that they were not like they were still moving the ball, score, but it was like, this ain't how this is supposed to go. Like,
Right.
This isn't moving smoothly like it should, and it's because the quarterback's not operating the way that he should. Like, Cal, let's just say Peyton Thorne doesn't throw interceptions on those plays. Let's just say those are all incomplete passes, right? The fact still remains you made the wrong decisions on every last one of them. You held the ball too long on one of them. You threw the ball too far out in front of, well, let's take them in order. You threw the ball too far out in front of Cam on the first one and made it a more difficult catch than it needed to be. Tip, pass, interception. On the second one that you threw as an interception, you held the ball too long, should have thrown it earlier. Keandre Lambert-Smith's open, interception. The third interception that you throw that got recorded as an interception up the sideline, he's not really open, but you throw it anyway. There's a guy wide open to the other side of the field. Fourth interception that you throw, the only one that anyone else really shares any responsibility on, miscommunication between you and your receiver. And you had a fifth one in the back of the end zone, which was a terrible throw because that pass should have gone to the outside rather than the inside. You are not, again, if every last one of those is an incomplete pass, they're all bad quarterback plays. Every last one of them.
Yeah. I think the other thing too about that whole like national title example is that it was not just also, to your point about it not flowing the way that it should be. You have enough tape on the guy that
Right.
started that game to know whether it's likely to get better or not.
Yeah.
Right. And so you say, look, man, when it's going this way for you, I think this is it. This is the best we're going to get out of you today. And it's a national title game. So like, I'm just, instead of just going with it and hoping that it's something changes, we're going to pull the plug here and we're going to put Tua in. And it worked out, because now, mind you, again, Tua was highly recruited and all this stuff, but I don't know, relative to the team and the talent that you have at the time, it's, Peyton Thorne is not Jalen Hurts. So,
Right.
so
he
Hank
doesn't
Brown,
have that special athleticism, right?
Right.
Like that's
Yeah,
not,
so
I
Hank-
forgot who I was talking to
so
about.
Hank
I think it was
Brown doesn't
Beard.
have to be Tua because
Right.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about 2 5-star guys, and so we're not talking about a 5-star guy and like a 2-star guy. We're talking about 3-star guys.
Right.
Right.
All right. So it's the gap should be the same, and you just need more out of that position. So that's how I'm looking at that. I'm like, look, man, it's shouldn't matter that he's, Hank is not a superstar, because the guy that you have in there is not a superstar either.
Right. But I was talking to B. Will about this recently, and he was like, Peyton Thorne is, as far as like his ability, is average at literally everything from the quarterback position, other than his ability on the whiteboard, right? Like, he's very cerebral on the whiteboard, but when he gets into the game, everything he does is basically average. He's not a phenomenal runner. He's just a good runner. Doesn't have an outstanding arm. He's got an okay arm. He doesn't throw with anticipation. He throws decently, right? Like, nothing he does is like enough to make up for the fact. And this is, Coach Freeze said this about the football team, Auburn. He said, we're not good enough to overcome bad play. Peyton Thorne's not a good enough quarterback to overcome poor decision making. He doesn't have anything else special about him to overcome, that snap was bad. The play's over.
Right.
Bad snap, plays over. Like, he can't make something happen.
Right.
Oh, that person isn't completely open, but I'm gonna throw him open. He can't do that. I'm a little late with the read. I can just gun it in there.
Window. Yeah. It's like, yeah. He doesn't have the arm to.
So he's got to do everything right before the throw happens, and if he doesn't, your probability of it ending the way that you want it to decreases with every little thing. He can't make up for the mistake.
And when you can put it all together, right, you get Jaden Daniels type seasons.
Right.
Where he can not only improvise when he, makes a bad decision, but also when he's on schedule, he's dangerous. And it's, and we don't expect him to be Jaden, but I'll end on this because there's a lot of Peyton Thorne talk, but like the concern is that the floor is still as low as it is. Right. Because you don't expect him to be a Heisman candidate, but you don't expect it to be a complete disaster at any point for a guy who's starting his 4th year at a P5 program. Right. Like, and I think that would be the concern for me. So like maybe, Hank's ceiling isn't super high, but if he raises the floor for you in any way from what we saw last week, I think you start him. Or at least you see if he does. How bad can it get with Hank Brown? And if you believe that it can be just as bad, if not worse, then why not go after a QB in the portal, man? Why not? Why hitch your wagon to this unless you've been lulled into a sense of security that you're going to be here in 2 more years no matter what? I asked Josh Pate, I was like, is there any way Hugh Freeze ends up in the hot seat after this season?
Yes.
He doesn't. He said yes because 3-9 will do that, but like he doesn't think that'll happen. And I'm like, man, I don't know. He took the under this year, and Josh is usually optimistic on Auburn to hit the over, but he took the under. And man, I'm telling you, I hate saying it. Now 7.5 is about where I thought they were because I told you guys pre-spring I thought 7-5 was the ceiling for this team, and then I got caught up in the bug and changed my prediction.
Well, the reality of the matter is, too, it wasn't just coaches and Hugh Freeze. The players began to talk about Peyton Thorne in a way that gave optimism, right? So it's not like that optimism came out of thin air. It's because people around the program begin to see promise.
Yeah, it was the optimism, and it was the fixing of all of the quote unquote dysfunction around him, right? And so in your thought processes, you're like, okay, the people who have watched him for an entire year feel as if he's different in the way that he's operating. And you fixed all of the other stuff that everybody says was the problem. Like we've removed all the other stuff, and we've got a better operator of the system. Better system, better components, and a better operator should equal better offense. The problem is the operator actually was catfishing the whole time. Like he never actually got any better. Like it was Funhouse mirror. He's not really skinny. He's still a fat chick. And you were looking at the reflection in the Funhouse mirror.
Yep.
Great personality, though. Cool breeze.
But he's funny.
Right. Cool breeze. Thorne might get booed again.
Listen, man, I please, they're literally, as we were speaking, a comment came through on our Instagram that said it got me checking out early this year. Lord, please no, it's not. We have not even hit the bye week, and people are talking about checking out.
That's how bad it looked, though, on Saturday.
Yeah.
It is the same. Like this felt. It wasn't as bad as the Penn State game because they got absolutely railroaded in the Penn State game, but it was deflating because of how well the offense looked just 1 week before. Again, I get it's Alabama.
It was the highs and the lows. Like,
yeah,
you just got slammed. You got slammed to the low really quick.
This was like you had a sugar rush and it ended, and it was like you crashed immediately, and you're like, oh wow, what the heck was this? So,
yeah.
Hunter Hannah says, I just hope we don't see rotating QBs for the love of God.
I don't think he has a history of this.
He doesn't. He has a history of like using a second quarterback as a gadget guy, but
Yeah.
not like we're gonna put this guy in for this series, and we're gonna put this guy in for this series,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let them both run the same offense. No,
No,
Yeah.
I don't. Freeze. It's not Freeze thing.
he did that versus. Oh, now remember last year versus Ole Miss, he did do that with Robbie and Peyton Thorne, but again, they were drastically different offenses they were running. It wasn't
Right.
you're gonna run the same offense, but this is your series. This is your series. Like I just don't know. The time to do that would have been against Alabama A&M.
Ed Darby says Josh Heupel pulled Milton for Hooker, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw that comment and I was just looking up here. So, Hendon Hooker was the 245th ranked prospect nationally coming out of high school. So he wasn't even a top 100 guy. Now, they had him rated as a 4-star, which is odd for a 245th.
250 is like you can still be a 4-star.
Yeah, it's like bordering on 3.
But you're on the low end for sure.
Yeah, I mean it was, but you understand what I'm saying though. Like he ended up being, before his injury, I thought he was on his way to winning the Heisman.
Yeah,
but didn't win the job. Sometimes the better guys on the bench. And it's not always
250. I mean, it depends on how many quarterbacks were ahead of him too, right? So like,
but they said nationally, this right here says he was the 7th ranked quarterback, which is odd, man, to have the 7th ranked all the way down at 250.
Top 250 isn't too bad. Anyway, Hendon Hooker was easily the better quarterback of those two, though. Like it wasn't even close. I still struggle. I get why people like Joe Milton's arm.
I take that back, guys. 328, actually.
That's when he was ranked 328.
Yeah.
But I see why people like Joe Milton's arm, but I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't see nothing else but the big arm.
Yeah, Hooker was the better quarterback.
Devin21 says, so if Hank comes in at some point and balls out and is a starter, does that look worse for Hugh Freeze for waiting so long to try someone other than Thorne?
I think that it will for like a second, but winning, Devin, seems to make people forget a lot about the mistakes that you made. So it was a non-conference game. Hank comes in and starts winning SEC games. Yes, there will be some questions, but like, again, better coaches than Hugh Freeze have made this mistake. The question coming in was, how bad will it have to get before he'll make a change? Like making a change after week 2, again, you lost, so not ideal. But I think I'm more concerned. What if Auburn had won that game somehow? Like, let's say, let's follow me to fantasy land for a second. Let's say Kayan Lee calls that interception.
Yeah. It's a tie ball game right there.
Auburn goes to overtime, and Towns McGo kicks the winning field goal in overtime.
Well, you wouldn't even really have needed overtime at that point in time. It's tied at 14 then.
Okay. Well, Auburn wins. My point is Auburn wins, right?
Right.
Yeah. But nothing changes statistically about Peyton's performance in this scenario, right? Like, but if Auburn wins that game, do you think Hugh Freeze would still pull the plug? And that's where I have the question. Like, would he pull the plug? Did it take the loss to bring him around?
I think
that's what I said. That's what I said.
I think he was like, I think it's going to take us having to really like it's you can't overlook his performance. It has to get to that point, and that's what you got last weekend.
So again, to answer her question, I don't know that it's long because it's week 3. Right? Like, so if he pulls them Saturday, yes. If they lose to Arkansas and go into Oklahoma and now you're just now trying to start Hank Brown, yes, he takes a lot of heat.
Yeah.
For waiting.
People were clamoring for this 2 weeks ago, and then you're just now doing this when our season now you've got
it's almost down to tubes. Yeah. So the season's not down to tubes yet. So if he starts Saturday, no, Freeze takes almost no heat. And especially
if it works out well for him.
Correct. Yeah. But if it doesn't, still, I think it's fine because maybe it underscores why you started Peyton to begin with.
Right.
But your window for that is closing Saturday, and that's why everybody's like, is Hank Brown going to start Saturday? Because after that, Devin, you start to get in that too long, you know what I mean, range. Anything after Saturday might be too long if you're losing.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. Chase Patterson says, appreciate the super chat. He says, give Hank a 0-0 score. Why give him no pressure of having to score to win? What's he's like when it counts the most? Don't give him a 3-4 touchdown cushion.
I agree. Give him a 0-0 score and see how he commands the offense.
Yeah. B Will's forehead with a $2. Appreciate you. He comes back and says, Mike owes Robert Lewis an apology, and Knight can prove it. Would watch the film.
Yeah, I mean, my point was not that he was the worst wide receiver ever. My point is that like I felt like Malcolm Simmons could have helped in that game, and if you put him in there, you maybe call it differently. On that play where Robert Lewis got to me, he was clearly interfered with. Some people said the ball was uncatchable. I'm not sure that the ball was uncatchable. It looked like it landed 2 yards in front of him. Yeah, if Malcolm Simmons is that game and nothing has changed, I don't even know if the DB has a chance to interfere with Malcolm Simmons. I think he's gone, personally.
I mean, it depends on how much faster he is. I could argue that Peyton Thorne would have underthrown Malcolm Simmons because he runs past that point at that point in time. But where we take a sharp turn is the statement of Robert Lewis is not an SEC receiver, which I disagree with firmly.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he definitely is not. I'm saying I'm not sure if he is.
I'm sure that he is, though. He was open so much during that game. He did literally everything you could ask for the receiver to do, and Peyton Thorne just didn't hit. Like, he threw him the ball like maybe twice during the game. One time he got interfered, the other time was a catch.
Yeah, he made a great catch in the fourth quarter. Certainly, that was an A+ catch in the fourth quarter.
I think what I would, even though you said it differently, Malcolm Simmons is clearly dynamic. When he has the ball in his hands, he's dangerous with the ball in his hands. And I think Lewis is a good receiver who knows how to get open, runs route. I mean, that's what you want in a good receiver.
Right.
That's what you want in a good receiver.
Yeah, I don't think that now to the point, Malcolm Simmons is the better athlete of the two. He's the more dynamic with the ball in his hands.
Right.
I think Robert Lewis is probably the better wide receiver today, though.
Right. All right. Damian Smith says, Ike, to paraphrase an earlier analogy, it was like having the night of your life, then pulled up the sheets to see Lila Rashawn's jacked up feet. Hammer time. I like the boomerang. I like the boomerang reference.
Movie Boomerang.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I have not seen that.
You should check it out.
I'm gonna put that on the list.
You should check that movie out.
I'm gonna put that on the list. Boomerang.
Yeah, I think you would actually
You sounded like Captain America right then, like you had been in like.
You pull out a notepad. Hey, man.
Yeah, I got that reference.
I got that one right. Hilarious. All right, Mike, tell the folks, man, what they need to do. Ed saying your card is revoked. They own you in the comments.
All right.
They own you in the comments.
I'm going to renew my card with a Patreon membership. A month. We'll get my card back. You can get your card back if you sign up. We appreciate the signups that we had in there. We appreciate everybody for joining our live show today. Always a good time with our community. You can help our community grow by gifting a membership. Hit that gifted membership button to help somebody else join the War Report community. Also, this show is brought to you in part by Autograph. Visit your phone's app store and download Autograph today. This is absolutely free. It costs you nothing, and it helps us a ton, guys. So do it right now while we're talking. Download Autograph. Use referral code rapport and sign up, and you'll get instant alerts straight to your phone when anything big happens with Auburn and one of the major sites reports it. This is an incredible app, and it was founded by Tom Brady, none other than Tom Brady. So help us out here. Download Autograph today. They are a paid sponsor of the War Report. We want them to stay that way. I want to thank Joy Mode. We talked about this earlier. No matter how you cope with your losses. If you cope like I cope, Joy Mode can help you. So try joymode.com for 20% off plus free shipping. Also want to thank Vintage 2298 Restaurant and Butcher Shop for sponsoring the show. Great sponsors over there. If you're in the Auburn area and you're looking for some good eats, Vintage has you covered. Our guy Chef Randall Baldwin, also the owner, will take care of you. Make sure you tell your waiter or waitress that the War Report sent you. Last but certainly not least, guys, I want to thank our show sponsor and title sponsor, the Opelika Rage Room and the Birmingham Rage Room. Visit 1510 2nd Ave if you're in the Opelika area, or 2616 7th Ave in downtown Birmingham if you're in Birmingham. This is a great way to let out some stress after a loss to Cal or whatever Auburn will deal you the rest of the season. Up there in Birmingham, they have axe throwing. Now, look, man, my medical insurance won't allow me to participate in axe throwing, but if yours does, they got that up there in Birmingham as well, too. So please go visit the Rage Room. Again, as always, when you get to the counter, make sure you tell them the War Report sent you. They'll take care of it.
Get your insurance game up, Mike.
Yep, I need to.
All right. We appreciate you for hanging out with us. We'll appreciate it even more if you share this video, if you like this video, and if you subscribe to the channel. Also, we'll appreciate it if you followed us on X and IG, even on TikTok at TW Report. That's it for now, guys. We got more content coming because we're getting closer to this weekend. The anticipation is mounting. Who's going to start? We got a little bit more conversations to be had. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, War Eagle.